Aunt Margaret, I hissed into my phone, pacing my kitchen floor. The bank said there hasn't been a payment in 3 months. That's not what you told me last week. Oh, sweetie, don't worry so much. Her breezy tone made my stomach clench. You know how banks are always making mountains out of molehills? I'll sort it out next week when that big catering order comes through. My name is Emily, and at 29, I was watching my perfect credit score crumble because I'd made the mistake of trusting family 8 months ago. Aunt Margaret had swept into my life with dreams of opening a bakery complete with Pinterest boards and promises of becoming the next great success story in our small town. You're the only one who really understands business, Emily, she'd said over coffee that day, spreading out her elaborate plans. The banks just don't see the vision. But you do, don't you? You've always been the smart one in the family. Now, standing in my kitchen, surrounded by past due notices, those words felt less like praise and more like calculated manipulation. That catering order fell through weeks ago, I said, my voice shaking. The client told me himself when I ran into him at the grocery store. Why are you lying to me? The silence on the other end lasted just a beat too long. Well, there are other orders coming. And anyway, didn't you say you got a bonus at work? Maybe you could help out just this once. No, my knuckles whitened around the phone. That's not what co-signing means. Aunt Margaret, you promised you'd handle the payments. You showed me a business plan. You swore you'd be responsible. I am being responsible. Do you know how hard it is running a business? Of course, there are going to be some bumps along the way. I thought you'd understand that being an accountant. I walked to my home office and pulled up the online banking app. I'd finally convinced her to let me access. What I saw made my blood run cold. Are the Louis Vuitton charges part of those bumps, Aunt Margaret? Or the 3-day spa retreat? Because I'm looking at the business account right now, and there's an awful lot of personal spending here. Those were networking opportunities. You have to spend money to make money, Emily. Honestly, for someone so smart, you can be very small-minded about business. I stared at the screen at the long list of expenditures that had nothing to do with running a bakery, all while I'd been getting increasingly panicked calls from the bank about missed loan payments. The signs, I'd ignored the red flags, had been there from the beginning if I'd only let myself see them. The banks that said no. She'd never mentioned that 3 others had already rejected her loan applications, the business classes, a single weekend seminar at the community college, not the rigorous courses she'd implied, the failed ventures, the jewelry business, the life coaching, the essential oils phase, all ending in debt. But I'd wanted to believe her. Growing up, Aunt Margaret had been the fun one, the dreamer, who praised my ambition, while my mother warned me to be cautious. Look at these projections, she'd said, showing me spreadsheets I now realized were pure fantasy. We could be the next big thing in town. And with your financial expertise backing me, how could we fail? The betrayal deepens. I pulled up the bakery's actual financials. Customer reviews complained about inconsistent hours and unfulfilled orders. Suppliers had stopped delivering due to bounced checks. The rent was 2 months behind. Meanwhile, Aunt Margaret's Instagram showed her at high-end restaurants, luxury spas, and shopping sprees, all paid for with business funds. Then came the text from my cousin Sarah. Have you talked to Mom lately? She's telling everyone you pressured her into taking that loan, says. You insisted on co-signing because you wanted to control her business. I nearly dropped my phone. Me? Pressure her. I remembered her showing up at my house 3 times in 1 week. The tearful calls about her crushed dreams. The guilt trips. You're my only hope, Emily. Another text from Sarah. She's really playing up the victim angle, says you're threatening her now being a ruthless businesswoman. Instead of family, the betrayal wasn't just the lies or the stolen money. It was the way she was rewriting history to paint me as the villain. The reckoning that night, I documented everything. Emails begging me to sign bank statements showing her personal splurges, texts from vendors about unpaid invoices. Then I called a lawyer. This isn't just irresponsibility, the attorney said grimly. Using business loans for personal expenses is fraud. You could press charges. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. Aunt Margaret, her voice saccharine. Emily, darling, I hear you've been talking to lawyers. That's not very family-oriented of you. Why don't you come over for dinner? I'm making your favorite chocolate cake. The same manipulation, the same fake nostalgia. This time, I didn't fall for it. All communication goes through my lawyer now. I texted back. Then I blocked her number. The fallout, the demand letter, hit like a bomb. Aunt Margaret retaliated with a massed email to the family. Emily pressured me into taking that loan. Now she's threatening me over a few slow months. So I fought back with receipts. I attached the $3,000 spa weekend, the $5,000 business retreat in Miami, the country club dues. The family's reaction split instantly. Some doubled down, defending her. She's always been a free spirit. Others privately confessed she borrowed $10,000 from me last year. Told me the bakery was fully funded. At the settlement meeting, Aunt Margaret arrived, latent designer, heels she definitely couldn't afford, criminal charges. She gasped when my lawyer laid out the terms. But it was my business. I had the right to commit fraud. No, you didn't, her own lawyer cut in. She crumpled into fake tears. I'll lose everything. The bakery was your excuse, I said coldly. Your dream was spending money you didn't have. And I'm done financing it. The aftermath, she signed the settlement confessing to the misuse of funds. The bakery's assets were sold, not that there was much left. Family relationships fractured between those who saw the truth and those who still bought her act. A year later, Aunt Margaret moved to California, chasing yet another big opportunity. Meanwhile, I rebuilt my credit and my peace of mind, learning the hard way that real family doesn't weaponize loyalty. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is hold someone accountable, even if it means being the villain in their story. The law office smelled like leather and expensive coffee when I walked in for our final meeting. My attorney slid a thick folder across the polished mahogany desk. She folded faster than I expected, she said, tapping the settlement papers. Signed everything this morning. The confession of judgment means we can seize assets if she misses. A single repayment. I flipped through the pages, each one a small victory. Aunt Margaret had agreed to full repayment of misused funds, $48,700 documented, plus interest. A public retraction of her lies about me pressuring her surrender of bakery assets. what little remained and the credit card fraud? I asked. We'll file it with the DA as part of the agreement. They probably won't prosecute unless she violates the terms, but it stays on record. My lawyer smirked. Her third attorney looked ready to quit when he saw the spa receipts. The family civil wardener at Grandma's that Sunday was a minefield. You couldn't have handled this privately. Uncle Mark stabbed his roast beef. Now the whole town's gossiping. Before I could respond, Grandma slammed her water glass down. Margaret stole from her own niece. If anyone embarrassed this family, it's her. A stunned silence. Then she's always been like this. Cousin Lisa blurted. Remember when she borrowed my college fund for her aromatherapy phase? Or when she sold Dad's golf clubs? Added Uncle Mark quietly. The dam broke for 2 hours. They traded stories of loans never repaid, pawned heirlooms, and forged signatures. I sat frozen, realizing I wasn't the first victim, just the first to fight back, the last twist. Months later, Sarah texted me a screenshot. Aunt Margaret's new Instagram post showed her sipping champagne at a Napa Valley resort. Caption, when life gives you lemons, start a vineyard consulting business. Shaprento lipren urif fibenidit. A comment from Mom. Looks wonderful. Margie, so proud of your resilience. I laughed until my ribs hurt. Some people never change. But now, neither do I. The certified letter arrived on a Tuesday morning, thick cream-colored paper with the bank's logo embossed in gold. I already knew what it said before I tore it open. Final notice. Loan default imminento. My hands didn't even shake this time. Phase 1. The paper trail I spent that evening compiling every bank statement showing personal purchases, dated screenshots of Aunt Margaret's social media spa days versus working weekends, the original loan, documents with her forged initials where I'd insisted on expense over. Lawyer's paralegal whistled when I dropped off the files. You've got her dead to rights on wire fraud. The DA is going to salivate over this. Phase 2, the confrontation I didn't text. Didn't call, just showed up at her bakery, now a glorified storage unit for unsold cake stands as she was leaving for her weekly massage appointment. Emily? Her Louis Vuitton tote slid off her shoulder when she saw me. I was just about to call you about save-its. I held up the bank notice. You have 24 hours to sign the asset transfer papers. After that, I file criminal charges. Her face did that. Terrifying thing, lips trembling, eyes darting before hardening into defiance. You wouldn't dare. Your mother would never. Mom consigned your last car loan. I smiled. Guess who just gave me power of attorney over her finances? The aftermath in bullet points because she doesn't deserve paragraphs. The bakery's lease was terminated 2 months unpaid rent. Her Mercedes repossessed collateral on a loan she'd forgotten about. The family group chat erupted when cousin Jason found her GoFundMe. Shinguru entrepreneur battling vindictive niece at Thanksgiving. Grandma served pie using her lost heirloom silverware covered from a pawn shop receipt in Margaret's email. Funny how things work out, Grandma said, handing me the sharpest knife. Epilogue. 1 year later, my credit score hit 812 last week. Aunt Margaret's new wellness retreat in Sedona just got hit with an FTC investigation. And Mom, she finally asked me to manage her investments. You've always been the responsible one. She sighed, handing over the paperwork. I framed that sentence